This is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Kairaba Avenue. I am Ashma Uba. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. The death has been announced of politician Omar A. Jallow, commonly known as O.J. Jallow, on Sunday after a long illness. At an emotional funeral service, the body of the Gambia's late High Commissioner to Sierra Leone, Alieu K. Jammeh, was laid to rest on Saturday at his ancestral home of Badibu Ilyasa. At the ongoing Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils, the PS at the Ministry of Local Governments, Buba Sanyang highlighted challenges that hindered government's decentralization policy across local councils. The West African Institute for Financial and Economic Management and Partners commenced a 12-day regional course on government finance and public sector death statistics on Thursday. In international news, today, the 15th of May, is the International Day of Families to create awareness about the importance of families and the role they play in society. Those remain headlines. Now the news in detail. We start with a sad story. The death has been announced of politician Omar A. Jallow, commonly known as O.J. Jallow, on Sunday after a long illness. Alieu Cisse reports.
O.J., a decent and respected politician, was a National Assembly member for Serekunda East under the PPP government until 1994. He also served as Agriculture Minister under the late former President Jawara. His party, the PPP, was part of the coalition that ended former President Jammeh's 20-year rule, which brought incumbent President Barrow to power in 2016. Following the change of government in 2017, President Barrow appointed him Minister of Agriculture. However, he was relieved of his cabinet appointment in 2018. Nonetheless, O.J. continued to stand by President Barrow until his demise. Mr. Jallow testified before the TRRC that he was arrested 22 times and tortured on 4 occasions by the former government, during which he lost one of his fingers. In spite of what he endured, he was outspoken in advocating forgiveness, unity and reconciliation in a post-Jammeh era. He openly announced that he had forgiven all those who inflicted pain on him during the authoritarian rule of Jammeh, including Omar Jallow alias Oya, a member of Jammeh's hit squad, and Yaya Jammeh himself.
From my deep heart, I have forgiven you, and I still hold you as my brother and my nephew as I held Usman. And I want you to feel that way and be free.
He was one of those who took part in a formal reconciliation organized by the TRRC in July 2020. There has been outpouring messages of condolence since the news broke. President Barrow described O.J.'s death as a great loss for the country. An epoch of the Gambia's political history has come to an end. O.J. selflessly served our dear country all his life. He will be missed, President Barrow posted on his official social media handle. Reporting for QTV News, I am Alieu Cisse.
We pray that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will forgive his sins and grant him Jannatul Firdaus and all departed souls. At an emotional funeral service, the body of the late Gambia's High Commissioner to Sierra Leone, Alieu K. Jammeh, was laid to rest on Saturday at his ancestral home of Badibu Ilyasa, attended by thousands, including ministers and venerable religious leaders. Alieu Cisse was among the mourners, and he now reports.
A man of few words, Alieu K. Jammeh was a result-driven servant who spent his life serving humanity and country. He died last Thursday in Freetown, Sierra Leone, after a brief illness. His determination to succeed saw him serve in various capacities, including Minister of Youth and Sports, the Gambia's ambassador to Guinea-Bissau, and the High Commissioner to Sierra Leone, also overseeing Cote d'Ivoire and Liberia, a position he held until his demise.
This link you have with Guinea-Bissau is not only because of me, it's because of Guinea-Bissau. You are the honorary citizen of Guinea-Bissau. Thank you very much, Mr. Ambassador.
As I prepare to leave for another jurisdiction, I want to announce that I will miss Guinea-Bissau, for indeed Guinea-Bissau has been very good to me.
The late envoy will be remembered as the first Gambian to have successfully presented his ambassadorial credentials to Cote d'Ivoire. It was also under his tenure that a sitting Gambian president traveled to Cote d'Ivoire on an official state visit, which he was instrumental in facilitating.
It was quite a very successful tour of duty in Guinea-Bissau. And coming to Sierra Leone, I find it quite challenging, but very well prepared for the challenge.
The grandson of Mama Tamba Jammeh, Alou Keba Jammeh, was a unifier and peacemaker among the Tamba Jammeh family. His family said his demise is a great loss for them. For friends and colleagues who will for long struggle to bear the pain of losing a father, uncle, brother, husband, son, and a true friend, Alou K. Jammeh represented the values of humility and kindness. The man did not live a flamboyant lifestyle despite having the means to do so, but instead he used his fortune to support the poor and underprivileged. Those who attended the funeral included cabinet ministers, Chief of Staff Mutke Sise, security chiefs, and venerable religious leaders from within and outside the country. Mamadou Tangara, the Gambia's Minister of Foreign Affairs, described the late Alou K. Jammeh as his special friend and brother. He remembered him for his loyalty and service to the country and urged others to emulate the late High Commissioner. Alou K. Jammeh is gone, but his legacy lives on. Reporting for QTV News, I am Aliou Cisse.
As he has been laid to rest today, we pray that Jannatul Firdaus be his final abode. A day after Omar Jallo's death was announced, President Barrow was among the crowd that gathered at his residence to pay their condolences. Lolem Kamara reports.
Thousands of mourners, including the President of the Gambia, Adama Barrow, cabinet ministers, former Vice President of the Gambia, Dr. Aissatou Touré, respectively, paid their condolences at his family house in Pipeline. A great man of substance and hero as described by colleagues, family members and close friends. Speaking to QTV about the disease is James Frumos P. Gamas, a retired public servant, Edmond Sonobi, a family friend, and Honorable Dembo F. Bojang, a family friend, shared their views about late OJ.
And the most important part of OJ's life is OJ sees everybody as a human being. Every Gambian as a Gambian. He has no distinction between Christian and Muslim. He has no distinction between Manjago and Sose and Yola. Everybody was OJ's friend.
And I will not say he served the country well. No. He staked his life for this country. Some people say he sacrificed everything for this country. No, he staked his life for this country. But if you know the history of his arrest and detention, his torture, everything, and up to this point, he lived, you would have said yes. That's a man of faith. That's a man of determination. And that's what we've lost.
So he is friendly to everybody. He has no hatred for anybody. And he is truthful. OJ is truthful. Despite the fact you are his friend or a relative or his elder, when it comes to say the truth, he'll say the truth. No, nothing but the truth.
The late Omar Jallow was groomed politically by the late Sir Dawda Jawara, the man often described as the father of the nation. Here is Keba Jallow, who belonged to the same political party as Mr. Jallow.
On the OJ, Serekunda East was well organized. We were well financed. Well, because we organized fundraising activities on which we drive a lot of revenue. We finance our own political activities. We finance the projects that are built in Serekunda. I can name few. The Bundum Primary School was built by Serekunda East PPP. The Latrikunda Sabili Market and Latrikunda Primary School, Talendim Primary School, Fajikunda School, Serekunda Health Center, just to name a few.
President Barrow described the late OJ as a patriot and someone who was loyal to the nation.
OJ affaire am yemulon Gambia rek affaire am dafa yaatu woon cover Africa because ki nga xam ni dañu ko daan tànn mu doon election observer ci Africa fii kon mu ngi mel ni OJ Africa dañu ko xamoon kon tey Gambia dëj bu rëy lañu am tey.
Dr. Aissatou Touré, former Vice President and current Director of Gamco Trap, has this to say.
I will remember him for his struggle to restore democracy, freedom for the Gambians, and to create a third republic in which he played a very pivotal role in advancing democracy, human rights, and fundamental freedom.
Mohamed Jah, CEO of the Q Group, and Yankuba Dabo, Commissioner General of the Gambia Revenue Authority, also came to pay their condolences.
Today is a very sad day for Gambia, also pipeline. Uncle OJ, suma kotola, suma papa la won, suma dekandor la won. Yalla nak mom ku nekk so liggéey be wacca nga dem. Tay mom lolu lañ gis te ñu ko ñaanal yalla nako yalla xari arjana. Lolu rek lañ ko mëna ñaanal waye definitely Uncle OJ live na life am dimbalante na nit ñi liggéey na ci dëkk bi. So maa ngi oo suma bopp di oo ñëpp ne ñu seet ci tànki OJ ñu liggéey te su ñoo liggéey ñu fàtte seen boppa xelaat dëkk bi.
I know he has lived his life to the fullest. I know that he has no regret because OJ is full of life. Even in his sick bed, when we come here to visit him, he will always be laughing and chatting with us. So we just have to pray for him.
Other speakers also echoed that the late OJ was sociable and contributed immensely towards youth empowerment. Born on the 26th of October 1946, today his family is mourning his death. Gambians join them in mourning a great man. May Allah forgive him and place his soul in Jannah. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
May his soul rest in peace. From that story, will take us to a commercial break, but when we return, we have more local as well as international stories for you. Don't go away.
The Gambia National Coordinator and Co-Chairperson of the Africa Women Leaders Network, Muna Jawa, is pleased to inform the general public on behalf of the steering committee that the Gambia will be launching its national chapter on the 16th of May 2023. The event will take place at the exquisite Coco Ocean Resort and Spa Hotel and would be graced by His Excellency Adama Barrow, the President of the Republic of the Gambia. The Africa Women Leaders Network was constituted in 2017 by the African Union and the United Nations, supported by the Federal Republic of Germany and South Africa at the UN General Assembly. The network is an African-wide movement of women for the transformation and development of the continent through women's dynamic engagement and participation in decision-making at all levels of society in line with the Africa Agenda 2063 and the Global Agenda 2030. 32 countries have launched their national chapter, and the Gambia is proud to be the 33rd. The event will be attended by a high-level delegation led by the AU Special Envoy and dignitaries from around the world. Together, we can create a brighter future for women in the Gambia and across the African continent.
Inco Home Choice. Home Choice. Bagage bu baax mooy def liggéey bu baax te wóor te soo ko jëndee dina la yóbbu ci diir bu yàgg te du gaaw a yàqu. Inco Home Choice ñoo leen indil bépp xeetu bagage yi judduwaay yi ngeen mun a jëfandikoo ci seeni métier yi.
waaw ñun Inco fii leen day jëndee suñu bagage yi Inco dañ yombalee bagage yi dañ over baax quality bagage lañ lay jaay moo tax ñun liggéey bu ñoo def electrical plumbing boobu jiwi Inco fii leen lay ñëw bricam ñu jënd suñu bagage ñu bàyyi ko ba ci Toustan Serekunda fii waaye fii leen lay ñëwee bagage dina bagage lu waral loolu Inco dañ yombalee bagage number 1 number 2 seen bagage yi dañ over baax dañ over quality
bagage yu si mel ni power tools accessories bench tools generator yu baax welding machines ak small construction equipments muy bagage yu baax yi ngeen mën a jëfandikoo bu ngeen ay samp ay kër.
Because Inco mo fene la bagage so quality sa guarantee bi la bagage so bagage nya san nimi sa tije ni ta fo min na Inco ma so to janga mang Gambia janga ma so folo den nga ñoo ma koy akole la nya wonyandi be nga wuli nga na Inco nga bagage so san
seet si leen ñu si suñ maakaan yi nekk ci biir réew mi foofa sa Jinpex Kanifing Sukuta Jabang traffic light ak Birkama opposite Joko night club wala ngeen call ñu ci 532 5773 wala 341 7619 wala 739 8863 wala 303 9300 wala nga email ñu incogambia@gmail.com ak Inco Home Choice jafe-jafe ci wàllu bagage yi ngeen di jëfandikoo ci seen métier yi jeex na. Inco Home Choice. Inco Home Choice. Inco Home Choice.
Welcome back. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News, and I am Asma Uba. Now, the Permanent Secretary at the Ministry of Local Governments and Lands, Buba Sanyang, on Monday highlighted challenges that hindered government's decentralization policy across local councils. He was testifying at the ongoing Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils. And Sumani Sonyasi has more.
Continuing his testimony from last week, Permanent Secretary Buba Sanyang queried the lack of proper implementation of the decentralization policy, which he says can be largely attributed to inaction from both central government and local councils in fulfilling their responsibilities to the policy, and went on to highlight how government subvention is given out to councils, revealing that councils' recurrent expenditure is more than the stipulated 60% of their annual budgets.
Decentralization, the lack of decentralization movement hinge on both the central government and the councils. Their willingness to go along with decentralization. The central government, on its part, is not very willing to devolve power, and the local councils equally are not willing to devolve power. The central government is going to part away with a lot of financial commitment, and they feel that the councils doesn't have the enough structure to handle these finances.
Furthermore, he says most councils submit their budgets after the deadlines and mostly after repeated requests from the ministry. This, he says, makes it difficult for them to receive subventions on time.
I go to the market to buy food because I'm interested in food. It's not the shopkeeper to come to me because he needs money. So it's the same way. The council needed this, and the act said, sit with government and discuss your interests. I think it is responsibility of the council to not only counsel, definitely, but then it's to their advantage to trigger the move and then engage. However, government can also do it.
On council's financial autonomy, Pierre Sanyang says the ministry does not participate in the preparation of council budgets, adding that they are expected to carry out that function in consultation with village development committees as outlined in the decentralization policy. He also testified on council's main sources of revenue, including car parks, billboards and mining fees, now collected by GRA and the NRA, and how it has impacted council's operations and service delivery. Also, raid files of several councils including Banjul, Basse, Janjambure, Kuntaur, Kerewan and Mansakongo were admitted as evidence. For KTV News.
The West African Institute for Financial and Economic Management, WIFM, in collaboration with the International Monetary Fund, commenced a 12-day regional course on government finance and statistics and public sector debt statistics on Thursday. Julia Jai attended, and she now reports.
This training is intended to upskill the knowledge of participants on the conceptual framework of government finance statistics and public sector debt statistics as presented in the IMF's Government Finance Statistics Manual 2014 and Public Sector Debt Statistics Guide 2013. Dr. Emmanuel Ousi-Efriye, Director of Research and Macroeconomic Management Department at WIFM, highlights the thematic areas that the training is going to focus on.
The course has been designed to cover key topics such as preparation and dissemination of government finance statistics and public sector debt statistics, effective utilization of existing fiscal data, improving data source and quality of GFS through PSDS in terms of comprehensiveness, accuracy, timeliness, and usability.
Sekou Toure, Director of Risk Management at the Central Bank of the Gambia, spoke of the importance of the training.
Finance statistics, GFS, public sector debt statistics, play an important role in helping policymakers, analysts, academics, and the public at large to understand the financial operations, financial position, and liquidity situation of the government sector in an organized manner. First, it provides a means to monitor the government to ensure that they are good stewards of the resources that are entrusted to them.
Dr. Noriaki Kenoshita is the senior economist at the IMF Statistics Department.
We encourage the participants, you, to take full advantage of this opportunity by building knowledge through lectures, joining actively in discussions, and learning from experiences of peers.
The International Monetary Fund, in its January 2023 World Economic Outlook, forecast global growth to moderate to 2.9% in 2023 from 2.7% in October, a 0.2% point upward revision, while global inflation is forecast to slow down to 6.6% in 2023 from 8.8% in 2022. From the domestic perspective, the Gambian economy remains resilient, gradually showing signs of recovery. This is supported by modest rebounds in tourism and private sector remittance inflows. Consequently, the economy is forecast to grow by 5.6% in 2023, which is higher than the 5.2% projected for 2022. The West African Institute for Financial and Economic Management, WIFEM, was established on July 22, 1996, by the central banks of Gambia, Ghana, Liberia, Nigeria, and Sierra Leone. This institute is meant to build capacity for improved macroeconomic and financial management in the constituted member countries. Since its inception, the institute has successfully executed 871 courses, workshops, and seminars for over 24,000 participants from the sub-region and beyond. For QTV News, I am Julden Jai.
That story by Julden Jai will take us to international news. The International Day of Families is observed on 15th May every year to create awareness about the importance of families, the role played by them in society, and to promote the well-being of family members. Lena E. Igwenyiba reports.
The International Day of Families was first observed by the United Nations General Assembly in 1993 and is celebrated by countries around the world, while also highlighting the issues families face, such as poverty, inequality, social exclusion, and violence, and encourage governments, organizations, and individuals to take actions. Families play a vital role in the development of children and youth, and they provide support and care for their members throughout their lives. Families also play an important role in the economy as they provide labor and care for children and elderly family members. This year's theme is Demographic Trends and Families, which aims to increase knowledge of the social, economic, and demographic processes affecting families. Demographic trends are mostly shaped by fertility and mortality patterns and are one of the most important megatrends impacting our world and the life and well-being of families worldwide. According to the United Nations, in late 2022, the world's population has reached 8 billion people, characterized by the UN Secretary General as a milestone in human development. This landmark event illustrates major advancement in health, extending human lifespans. Population growth is to continue, albeit at a decreasing rate. The world's population is projected to reach 9.8 billion in 2025, or by 11.2 in the year 2100. Rising concerns about the prospects of sustainable urbanization and management of climate change. Reporting for QTV News, I am Lena E. Gwenyiba.
That's it for the news, but before we go, a recap of our main news headlines. The death has been announced of politician Omar A. Jallow, commonly known as O.J. Jallow, on Sunday after a long illness. At an emotional funeral service, the body of the Gambia's late High Commissioner of Sierra Leone, Alieu K. Jammeh, was laid to rest on Saturday at his ancestral home of Badibu, Ilyasa. At the ongoing Commission of Inquiry into Local Government Councils, the PS at the Ministry of Local Governments, Buba Sanyang highlighted challenges that hindered government decentralization policy across local councils. The West African Institute for Financial and Economic Management and partners commenced a 12-day regional course on government, finance and public sector debt statistics on Thursday. In international news today, the 15th of May, is the International Day of Families, to create awareness about the importance of families and the role they play in society. That's all we have for you in this news bulletin. Join us at 10 p.m. for more news. Thanks for watching.